Sure. Matthew Lee, Inner City Press, on behalf of the Free UN Coalition for Access. Thanks for the briefing. I wanted to ask about just that. Some questions have arisen about the UN system and its treatment of the Rohingya issue. For example, there was a report that humanitarian agency UNICEF was reported in the Burmese press as apologizing for using the term Rohingya. And they've since said that their focus is on providing service, not on particular names. And also a census there was UN assisted, although it didn't allow people to identify as Rohingya. So I guess I wanted to know from your point of view how these are consistent with the idea of, is this sort of giving in to the government? Is this maybe it's for humanitarian goals, but is that, there was also a question of a pending law to ban interfaith marriage between Buddhists and non-Buddhists. And Mr. Nambiar apparently has no statement on it. It's been asked here, but what do you think of that? And fundamentally, what's the balance here? And is the humanitarian side of the UN giving in too much in terms of not even wanting to use the word Rohingya or allow people to identify as such? Thanks.
Well, I think the UN its position on this is clear, that whatever we do, it has to be in line with international standards and the principle that any minority group has the right to self-identify and to call themselves whatever they wish to call. And we've made it clear, I myself have made it clear in my discussion with the authorities that this is our position. And by practice, if the community has wanted to call itself Rohingyas, we would call it that. And this has been a consistent message throughout my discussions with the authorities and also the local leaders. I noted the disagreement between their use of the term Bengalis and our use of the term Rohingyas, and that this is only in keeping with the international standards to call a community by the name it wishes to be called. The discussions on this matter was cordial, but I was strongly advised not to use the term publicly during my stay, by both the government authorities and UN colleagues on the ground, because the situation currently in Rakhine is very, very tense at this moment over this precise issue, the use or non-use of the term. And I think disproportionately so, because it distracts attention away from the larger humanitarian situation that needs to be addressed. So as not to trigger any further controversy, and also not to let that issue overshadow the larger purpose with which I had made this mission to the country, which was to shed light on the full range of humanitarian needs in all communities and to encourage greater understanding of the impartiality of our humanitarian work among community leaders. And I agree, I did not use the term publicly, but I certainly used it and discussed it in all of my meetings.
Can you see how that, to some, that would seem inconsistent with the idea that the UN is pushing for the full rights of people if their name can't even be said by a visiting UN official? I mean, I understand it's a complex issue, but do you see that contradiction?
Well, I think there's a balance to be had in any situation, and I think each situation we approach with a great deal of prudence, and there's a division of roles. I think, certainly our human rights colleagues have that mandate to advocate for rights, and I think they've continued to do that. And I think there's a division of responsibilities and roles, but also complementarity, all towards protecting the rights, but also assisting the humanitarian needs of these communities.
Thanks.
Yes.